Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm the creator of the Hope for a Better Marriage community on both Facebook and Patreon. And my goal is to help women have the tools and the support they need to transform themselves, which in turn helps to transform their marriage without ever having to actually force their husband to participate in a workbook, therapy session, and I use the Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle as my foundation and the tools. And then I have brought in other sources and experiences to help you on your marriage journey. Today, I am going to be talking about communication, and this is kind of some extra supplemental stuff in addition to what Laura Doyle talks about in The Empowered Wife. I do suggest that as a foundation. However, these are some general communication tips that could start to help you right away. All right, so timing. I'm sure you have probably learned this to a degree, but timing, heavy conversations, emotionally charged conversations is everything. So you do not want to have a very, a deep, sensitive, intense discussion when you are overly tired, stressed, if someone is currently busy with something. So if your husband's working on a project or even driving in the car, it might not be the best time to start that. So timing is really everything, and learning how to figure out when is a good time and when not has been invaluable in my marriage. There's, that old adage that I think it's from the Bible, like, don't let the sun go down on your anger, but that has been a little, like, misconstrued. It is totally okay to go to bed. I would make some reconciliation steps, but I wouldn't hash out an entire argument and feel like you have to do that. Ideally, you're not having any arguments, but if you are, you do not have to hash out and resolve everything. It's much better to get some rest. So some suggestions for how to do this, especially in an empowered wife way. Say, your husband is bringing up stuff and he's being maybe overly critical, and you're just not at a place where you can handle it with retaining your dignity and not blowing up. You could say something like, I would love to have this discussion when I've had a chance to rest a bit. I am feeling overly sensitive and I cannot give you my best self right now. So something like that, where you're putting it on, you're being honest about yourself. So something like that can be helpful, and just kind of changing the dance, or, I'm starting to feel a little too intense. I need to go cool down a bit. I would love to continue this discussion. I hear your concerns and frustrations. I just need a break right now. Something like that. And do some self-care to get yourself regulated. If your husband leaves during an argument, I have a video about a conflict resolution. Give him the space he needs. He's trying to do the honorable thing to calm himself down so he doesn't explode on you. So do not chase him around like I used to do to my husband. Do not be prodding at him to see what's bugging him. Give him space. Okay, so timing. That's the first one. Another aspect of the timing thing, sometimes your husband might want to come talk to you about something, and it might not even be huge. It might just be a scheduling or just in general. But out of respect and love for him, you want to be able to give him your full attention. So you can say, I would love to give you my full attention. Give me 5 minutes to finish this task, and then I'm all yours. Something like that can be so helpful. And honestly, this is something I'm still working on because I multitask, homeschooling mom of 4 kids. I'm constantly pulled in different directions. So just giving your husband your undivided attention is such a gift. And it's okay sometimes, we need to wrap up a task. That's okay too. Assuming your spouse has goodwill, good intentions, and is not trying to hurt you. And also, there are times, either one of you might be intentionally trying to pick a fight, get under your skin, but generally it's helpful to assume, going back to the timing thing, sometimes we're not at our best selves. So if your husband is being extra irritable and stuff, it might be because he's overly tired and other things. So assuming that if I used to get overly sensitive. That is another thing, assessing if you're being overly sensitive. So my husband might make some observations about the house. He might even be trying to give me some helpful tips about it. And I would just get so insensitive, and I would like even extrapolate it to like, he thinks I'm a terrible wife, and he would, be very clear, like, I never said that. I'm just talking about the house. So assuming if your spouse is giving you helpful hints and stuff, it's not necessarily that he thinks you're an idiot or he's trying to like be the superior one who knows everything. He might just generally be trying to make your life easier. Or he might just notice some ways that, things might be done better. I do think it's helpful to say, like, thank you, I hear you. If your spouse is asking you to do certain tasks specific ways that really aren't going to work for you and you're not going to be able to do long term, it's good to just be honest and be like, I've tried doing it that way and it just doesn't work. I'm going to have to do it my way, but I appreciate your input. Something like that, because you never want to make promises just to kind of appease your spouse that you're not going to follow through with, because that's just disrespectful. So it's very important to like show that you respect and you appreciate their input, but sometimes certain things might not work for you, and that's okay. You are your own person. You can handle that respectfully. And you can always put in the comments if you have specific challenges, and we can kind of go through that. That's something perfect for my group coaching group. Through my Patreon, we go through stuff like this all the time. But yes, so just not always going to the defensive when your spouse is bringing up things, or even when he's bringing up things that you did that hurt him. It can be so easy to trigger to our defensiveness and be like, what about this time? And what about what you did? And go on the offense even. And just do your best to listen and say, I hear you. I didn't realize like I hurt you. I apologize for that. And again, in my other videos, Empowered Wives Aren't Doormats, and some of my other videos, never apologize if you don't really mean it. Never apologize just to kind of make the peace. Only if you have something sincere on your paper that you need to apologize for. Don't do it just to try to like calm your husband down. Again, that's not genuine, and that's not building a healthy relationship. Okay, so back to the oversensitive thing. So again, you might need to, if you're feeling yourself be oversensitive, it's good to kind of do a check-in with yourself and see, okay, what do I need in order to feel better? What kind of spiritual, emotional, or physical self-care do I need? I write about this on my Patreon. I have quite a few posts about self-care. And then you might need some time to kind of process your emotions and feelings. Sometimes I let my husband know, like, especially if like my hormones are out of whack or I'm just super tired. I'm like, hey, like, I'm just a mess right now. I need some time to be by myself and kind of like get myself together. And because like I've been doing this kind of work for years, and like we have a pretty healthy, emotionally safe relationship, like he knows that I'm generally trying to be my best self. And he appreciates that, because it's like, I'm not upset with him. And even if I am starting to find myself upset with him, I recognize like, oh, I am being overly sensitive. I'm being a little irrational right now. I need to go take care of myself. So, once you've kind of taken care of yourself, you're feeling a little more emotionally regulated and stable, you can kind of process through your feelings. Sometimes I just need to take things to prayer. I just need to journal. I might talk to a friend. That's one thing. We don't always need to talk over every little thing with our husbands. And there's a lot of things, like sometimes like I'm like, oh yeah, the timing is not right. We're both pretty tired. I'm like, I'll talk to him about that another day. And then it's like the thing that was kind of an issue for me goes away. And then there's times where I'm like, yeah, I kind of really want to like talk about this with him. And because we're both in a better place, it goes over way better than if I had tried to do it when I was like super sensitive and cranky and he was like tired and stressed. And I can just snuggle up to him on the couch or in bed and kind of just succinctly, that is key. So you're going to process your feelings, get it down to a few sentences. And I might share things like, I am feeling overwhelmed lately. I'm kind of struggling with the kids, and I'm just feeling more emotional lately. And I've been struggling a bit this week. something succinct like that. That can kind of tread into what Lord Oak talks about, borrowing your brain. So I do, if you are going to share problems you have with your husband, he might go into fix-it mode, and it is kind of disrespectful to totally like reject any suggestions he has. So if you're not really like looking for that, sometimes I might just say like, I had a rough time on it. Well, actually, sometimes like I don't even verbally need to say anything. Sometimes I just need to snuggle up to my husband and have him hug me, and that helps. That's what I've learned. Like I used to think I just need to verbally get everything out. Not all the time anymore, especially for like minor things. But sometimes it is nice to be able to like let him know I had a hard day, and like I just want to be held. Like I just want to spend time with you, and that's a nice moment because he gets to kind of be let into like what I'm struggling with. I'm getting to be vulnerable. I'm being received by him, and we're building intimacy that way. But I'm not being controlling because I'm not expecting him to react in a certain way. So I'm not expecting him to say certain words, do certain actions, and being upset if he doesn't react in that way. He is free to react and respond to my vulnerability, whatever way he's going to. So that is super important to not, if you're going to want to express yourself to your husband, you can't then reject him if he doesn't react in a certain way. If for some reason he starts being like really like harsh, you could be like, ouch, like that hurts. Like I'm just like, I'm just having a sensitive day. Sometimes it can be really hard for our husbands if we complain a lot, and especially if they don't feel like they can fix it and they don't feel like they can contribute to our happiness. So I do suggest like going through all these things and really getting into the habit of like processing your emotions and kind of thinking before you share, and try to like make sure you're letting him know like when things are going well, sending him a picture of the day, like when you and the kids are having fun, thanking him for working hard. So making sure that, his main experience of you isn't you just like venting your emotions. And what I used to do is I would emotionally vomit on him. Female friends are great for sharing our emotions and talking through things and being more emotive. Men are emotional. They're not less emotional than us, but we tend to emote and share our emotions more. Again, those are generalizations. It's not always, but I hope this is helpful. Again, these are just very basic general communication tips that can really help. And I dive into this more on my Patreon in our group coaching calls. I suggest reading The Empowered Wife, listening to the Empowered Wife podcast, and you can look through my other videos on this channel. But I appreciate if you would like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what your takeaway is from this video. Thank you.